So what do you guys think about the Big 12? What do you think about the Big 10 not playing football?
No.
No, let's talk about that first because, I mean, you had, what was it, the Mountain West that canceled first?
The MAC.
The MAC. And then, you know, the Big 10 stepped up and canceled.
48 hours later.
48 hours later. And that, you know, that's a far bigger conference. What do you think about that? Like, I was kind of shocked.
Well, my biggest beef is they released the schedule on Monday, which was 24 hours later after the MAC canceled. They released their schedule. Then the very next day, they're like, whoop, hold up, pause. No, we're not playing ball. All of a sudden. So the big thing is, you know, what I've seen on College Football Today, they were talking on yesterday's show, was talking about what changed in that 48-hour period. Did you get, you know, there was not necessarily no more COVID spikes, and the Big Ten commissioner hasn't gave a definitive answer why they decided to cancel.
Yeah, and I think that's what's got people puzzled is there really was no answer. You know,
No.
Tim, being the Ohio State guy, what do you think?
I'm only here so I don't get fined. I don't think the Big Ten should have folded so quickly. I understand at the same time there is a lot of pressure from here and here, both sides of people who are, yes, you're doing the right thing. You're making sure that athletes are being safe. Over here, hey, the NBA's playing. Why can't we play? Which is a good point. If the NBA can do it, I don't understand how. I know there's more players when it comes to football, but still, there's that logical thought of I just don't. Me personally, I don't understand why they just folded so quickly instead of just looking into it a little bit more in depth before they just make a decision. So now Gene Smith with Ohio State he's looking into it a little bit more after that 3-page letter that Justin Fields wrote. And so he's looking into that. So I think that's a good thing so far.
The NBA is doing it in a bubble, though. That's the only difference.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit, Cody, because we've talked about that a little bit. What do you mean by doing it in a bubble?
Basically, what the commissioner for the NBA did is he just kind of put the season to a halt when the virus broke out, and then started it up a few months later. And so, like, their players aren't really allowed to leave. They're at Disney right now. They can't leave and go out or anything like that, and they can't bring anybody in. So, like, they're away from their families and stuff like that. But I don't know if that works I don't know if that could work with college, just because, like, you can have NBA without fans. It's still not as fun or energetic, but, like, college is fans, is the way I look at it, you know. And so I don't know what other conferences and stuff are doing, and I don't know if other schools have came out and said it, but I know at least here what I'm hearing is that OU is just going to allow a 25% occupancy rate, and they cancel tailgating. But that's really all.
Well, that sounds responsible. You know, that's the thing we talked about, the financial impact it's going to have on a lot of schools. You know, some of the teams in the Big Ten are financially a little more able to skip a season than teams in the Big 12. I mean, you know, just outside of Texas and Oklahoma, you know, everybody else has to have that money. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know, because I feel like the Big Ten is still just as weak as the Big 12, as people view the Big 12, because it's kind of the same situation where it's just Ohio State. And I mean, if you want to throw Michigan in, even though they're really inconsistent, you can. And then Nebraska, those are like the three big names, but only one of those three is a solid team, solid program every year. That's how I would look at it. in the Big 12, you know, like at least everyone kind of holds their own. Like, granted, most of the time, like it's like a 4-way tie for a 5-4 record.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing too, to kind of piggyback off what y'all said about the quarantine. I mean, they can, in theory, quarantine college football. What they're doing at WVU right now is the players are staying in a players only dorm, which is right behind the stadium. So I guess you could, I don't know if you could call that a bubble or not, and they're only allowed, I mean, to do football activities, schoolwork, you know, and go out, you know, to get food if necessary. But everybody's taking responsibility of wearing their mask. So I don't know if you call that a bubble or not, but that seems on the same aspect, I think.
Well, if we do have Big 12 football, what's it going to look like? Who do you think? Who's your top 3 teams in the Big 12 this year?
Definitely Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Texas.
I don't know, man. I think I got OU, Texas, and Iowa State. OSU is just so inconsistent, and Chuba Hubbard doesn't really sound like he wants to play, given everything that's going on and stuff. So that's just my take. I think that would be my top 3 of the Big 12 prediction this year. And I think I know Sammy and I talked a little bit about it, but we were both talking that we think that Iowa State and OU will probably play each other in the conference title.
I could see that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And, you know, my third pick, you know, of course, Oklahoma first. Iowa State second, and then I want to go out on a limb and say West Virginia third. I think with their schedule and the way it's structured, I think they could finish third.
It's an even schedule. It's not front loaded or back loaded. Looks like it's a nice, solid, even schedule across the board.
And I think that's why I'm kind of thinking they may do a little better than I initially thought, just because, you know, it is a very even schedule. I think it's one of the most fair travel schedules they've had. You know, granted, you drop a couple games to make that happen, but
right.
You know, I think their schedule's very favorable, and you know, Mountaineer Field without even any attendance, still going to be a hard place to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm.
Do you guys have to drop your? Well, oh yeah, that's right, because of the fan situation. Because we don't have any home games at all the month of October.
I think what the. And kind of on the subject of the subject, but I know that the first game that West Virginia plays, I don't think they're going to have any attendance. By the way.
No, not at all. There's no fans of that one at all. But they're talking their first conference game. They're still debating between 20 and 25% capacity. So Mountaineer Field holds 60,000, which is a drop in the bucket compared to other stadiums across the country. Little Mike. That's roughly, if my math's right, about 15,000. And if you can spread 15,000 out pretty good at Milan Postcard Stadium, I mean, it'll still look good for TV.
Yeah, let's see, West Virginia's schedule. Eastern Kentucky in September the 12th, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Kansas, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Texas, TCU, Oklahoma, and Iowa State.
And another flip game I had earlier with between WVU and TCU, flipped more to WVU now because TCU's quarterback, the freshman phenom they had, he discovered when they're going through their COVID testing. Now, that's another thing the Big 12 is implementing. I don't know if it's every school yet, but at that TCU, and I know at another school, I can't remember the name. I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but they're incorporating echocardiograms, and they did an echocardiogram on Max Dugan. I'm not for sure if that's how you pronounce his last name, but they found he had a heart problem, and he's had this his entire life. And it's what I've read. It's something that needs attention.
Well, I mean, it's good that they called it. That's something that's always kind of gone. You know, you look back even when we were in high school, had guys having cardiac events.
Yep.
Quite often we had several when we were younger.
Yep.
So maybe that's something that this will at least help rectify a little bit.
Yep.
Tim, what do you think about the Big 12, or do you just not give a crap?
Go Mud Dogs.
But my mama said. My mama said.
Well, Tim, I'll tell you what, buddy. We'll let you be a WVU fan for a year.
Oh, hey, I have no problem with WVU whatsoever. I like them. I've never had a problem with them. The Big 12. I guess before my Sunlink internet crapped out on me there for a few minutes. I would say my top three for the Big 12 this year would definitely you have to put Oklahoma up there on top, and then I think Texas was going to surprise a lot of people, especially when when Todd Herman's a great coach, and when he gets his product out there and the way he wants to run his team, you see a lot of good things. I mean, he did it with Ohio State.
As long as he can avoid strip clubs.
Well, who's your third, Tim? Cody.
Oh, well, the strip clubs. Yeah, come on, you can't blame the guy for that, right? Come on.
It's not like he's Robert Kraft or anything.
The third team, Kansas. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to mute you.
That's a good question. TCU.
That's a pretty bold pick right there.
I know.
He just don't watch much football.
I don't.
He don't watch much. He don't know much about football.
There's a lot of bumpiness going on at TCU right now.
Yeah, big time.
I meant to say the Bears.
The Bears. Baylor.
Yeah.
Bear down.
No. But this season's kind of unpredictable though right now.
I'll tell you, it's hard. That's what's so funny about doing GGTV right now is because we're kind of, sports is just kind of crap the bed, and we're just left to try to figure out what's going to happen next.